8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you, and we're thankful that you're here with us live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio, also streaming live at cklu.ca on the internet. While you're there, make sure to check out the merch that we have available for you from the station. Keeps the lights on, keeps the airwaves open. And remember, if you're able to volunteer your time, your talents, all you have to do is email Rob at gm@cklu.ca. And if you have an idea for a show and you want to pitch him on that, you just email him at that same email. We're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow the channel, the page, and mainly comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen. We have a special guest waiting in the green room to come on. It's Simone Whittyfield from Sudbury Indie Cinemas, and they have their new SOAR Film Festival starting today through the 16th of November, and we're happy to have them on. Now, just to let you know, the show will be found on demand on those two platforms, along with x.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, which is our local news aggregator. So visit it for all the latest news from all the local news organizations. And without further ado, we're going to welcome our special guest here to shamelessly promote the new SOAR Film Festival here in Sudbury. It's Simone. Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, AJ. How are you?
I'm doing very fine. I really appreciated our little chat we had last night as we went through our, just making sure the microphone and the cameras were working and stuff like that. And so if people weren't familiar with Sudbury Indie Cinemas, first of all, maybe let us know what Sudbury Indie Cinemas are, and then we'll get into a little bit of you and your background.
Yeah, so we're a downtown independent cooperative cinema that shows films 7 days a week, theatrical films, festivals, and special events. You may have seen our Saturday morning serial cartoon parties or our Studio Ghibli Fest, our Halloween programming. We also show films like we'll show much of the upcoming Oscar slate starting in the new year, which we're very excited about. But 5 times a year, we get to put on film festivals for Sudbury and the region, and SOAR is one of them.
So awesome. Yeah, you guys, and you've been around for how long now, Sudbury Indie Cinemas?
We've been around since 2013, actually, and had our physical building located on Mackenzie Street, just across from the high school there since 2019.
Yeah, right across from Sudbury Secondary School on Mackenzie Street, for those that need to know, to visualize where it is. It's an older school that has a more modern theater facility in there now. That's Sudbury Indie Cinemas. So when did you become involved with them? A little bit of your background, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I started working there April of 23 as a intern. I was helping with film festivals, and slowly and surely, they kept me on after the contract ended. A full cycle of festivals happened, and I've kind of just stepped up, continued to assume more and more responsibility. And now I'm the director of our 5 film festivals.
That's so cool. That's very much a success story, especially for internship programs, which a lot of students nowadays find themselves in that position. That's the way they kind of get their foot in the door, so to speak. So you give hope for all the interns out there that there's hope after the internship. Now, I'm not sure. There was one of my good friends, Pierre Benham, who was basically, good friend and part of the show for a while, and his brother is in the Beach Boys, so we got an opportunity to interview him. But he was doing some marketing for Sudbury Indie Cinemas. Were you on
I've
board
actually
when
I've
he
actually
was
worked
there?
with Pierre a couple times on our Career North Film Festival.
Yeah.
That was, I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. Yeah, and his brother, he is in the Beach Boys. He took Brian Wilson's place, and and yeah, so they just came and played here in Sudbury not that long ago. I had the opportunity to interview a few of the Beach Boys because of that. Now, you do a few film festivals from Sudbury into Indie Cinemas location, and you guys put that on. Now, the SOAR Film Festival in particular, what sets this apart from other film festivals? Like, what is the focus of it?
So SOAR is a outdoor adventure film festival that is kind of a unknown genre to a lot of people, but what basically it is we take these documentaries or stories about people's journeys in the outdoors, say they're hiking a large mountain, paddling down whitewater rapids, or just have a really strong, deep connection with nature. And they make these films. A genre example you might be familiar with is Free Solo, the Oscar-winning film from a couple years ago, about Alex Hornold climbing El Capitan without any ropes or other gear. So we take those films, of which there are many, and get to showcase them freshly produced year-round. There are 25 that we have this weekend coming up from Thursday to Sunday. 7 of which are features.
Nice. So that's quite a few films. And it's Thursday till Sunday, is it?
Yeah.
And you have a pretty interesting special guest to kick things off.
Yeah, so we have the festival started as a partnership and continues as a partnership with Laurentian University's ADVL program. And we have one of their graduates coming in, Kylan Marone, but she's much more than just a graduate of ADVL. She appeared on season 7 of the TV show Alone, which is the one where they dump you in the middle of the wild and you have to see how long you can survive with your own wit. Out there, I believe she survived close to 80 days, if not over that. It was a finalist on season 7.
I think she came third, actually, because I was watching her, because I do know her. She came through a program. I was a teacher of a business program when she came in to start her business, Lure of the North. She started it through our business program, and so I know her very well. And so I was rooting for her, and as you know, on that show, they're not able to know how the other contestants are doing because they're just doing their thing. They take a couple cameras with them. They're dropped off in their own little spot. But we're rooting for her. We're seeing the other contestants aren't really hanging on all that well, and we're like, just hang on a little bit more, and you're gonna win, and we're rooting for her. But anyways, I think she came third out of 10 contestants, which is so good, so hard to do. I can't imagine. Can you imagine being dropped off in the middle of nowhere in the winter in Canada?
No. I think it's a fun, novel experience anytime the power goes out.
Exactly. You're like, I didn't realize how much I need power. Everything you do when the power goes out, you go to reach for the remote control. You're like, oh wait, I'll just look on the internet's not on. You do that for a while when the power goes out, but you can't imagine just having to survive with nothing out there. So she's really the perfect person to kind of kick this festival off with the theme that it is. And so how does that look? How is it all going to open and all this, the opening?
Yeah, so she'll be talking about her incredible experience on that, her business Lure of the North, and their journeys where they take guests up into the Arctic Circle for a couple for some long trips. She'll be talking about that, showing some clips of the TV show. This talk will be moderated by the Indie's very own Beth Mayers, herself a big veteran of the outdoor industry. She used to have her own touring business. And so that will be a wonderful talk happening tonight at 6:30.
Yeah, I was not aware that Beth had an outdoor adventure business, so to speak. So yeah, you learn something every day. And So can you tell us some of the highlights of some of the films that are going to be shown here? What's some of your main draws, and how does it work? So let's say I want to go. Do I get tickets for the whole thing, and I'm going every day, or can I just go to one film or another and all that stuff? How does it work?
Well, we have the latest news is that one of our films, our Friday 7 p.m. showing, Iron Winter, just won the grand prize at Banff Mountain Film Festival, which is the world's largest outdoor adventure film festival. That is a documentary about horse wrangling in the middle of Mongolia. So nomadic cultures, indigenous Mongolians, and their way of life. It's really interesting. Just one of those pieces of film where you just experience someone's life that you never really considered or thought of before. And so if you wanted to see that as well as tonight's talk, you could buy individual tickets, both for $13.50 each. Or if you wanted to see more films, we have incredible films like The Road to Patagonia, which was shot over 16 years and started as this guy's trip to go to from the tip of Alaska down to the bottom of Argentina to do the whole North America, South America thing. But along the way, he kind of just faces so much difficulty, decides to kind of settle down at a homestead, finds a girl he loves. They both marry. It's this beautiful, kind of very long, Richard Linklater-esque journey. And that is Saturday, I believe. So if you wanted to see those three films, you can buy individual tickets, or you could get a pass right now selling for $75.
And that's the reason why I ask. Well, not only so people know how much it costs, $75 to see 25 films is pretty cool. And we've all binge watched, Netflix series and things, but this is more enriching. You can be amongst other people. You're kind of binge watching all these, movies that are going to enrich your life, seeing the world through different lenses, like you just mentioned. Like you see, okay, there's this SOAR film festival. All the films are, outdoor themed and blah, blah, blah. But then you hear this, exactly what these two films you just mentioned. One is about horse wrangling in Mongolia. These would be wild horses though, right? I'm thinking.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. Because I think there's areas in the world where horses roam free. That's the way I think they started in the first place before we domesticated them. And then the story of this gentleman going all the way from the top to the bottom of North America, and finding his wife along the way. And, it just sounds like he was able to document this epic experience that took place. And we can live vicariously through them as we watch these films and learn so much about culture in general, right? Like different places in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I love, particularly about our theater, the Sudbury Indie Cinema, is that, going out to the theater is such an experience for me. I love watching movies around other people. And the fact that we're cooperative means that we have a very strong membership culture, a large group of regulars who love coming out to our films and then chatting afterwards. It's a very lively lobby. So if you want to talk about the movie you just saw, you don't have to go to social media. There's people right there to talk to about the experience you just had, who can digest it with you. You can talk about it with. And yeah, the whole focus of the festival is not just to live vicariously through these people, but like Sudbury has such a good outdoors culture. Northern Ontario has a really good outdoors culture. There's a lot of people incredibly passionate about traveling here, and we're hoping to, inspire their next adventures. This is kind of the down season for a lot of adventuring. The snow hasn't really settled in yet. It's too cold and mucky to really do a lot of the great outdoor things. And so this is a great time for people to come to the theater, get inspiration for their next adventure.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't want to do it in the summer. That's for sure, because that's when all of us are outdoors, because we know we have a limited time, to enjoy summer here, and try doing business in the summer in Sudbury. Just you'll never get a return phone call. Everyone's out at their camp, as we call it, not cottage. But so the I just lost my train of thought for a second, but we'll get right back on it. So the Indie Cinemas is a co-op. Can you explain that? Like, let's say someone's like hearing that for the first time and thinking, well, I love movies and I'd love to be part of a film family, so to speak, is what you kind of it summed it up. It sounds like everyone's kind of gets to know each other, and there's like-minded people, and you're kind of, get together and socialize around the same theme. And so how does one become involved as part of the co-op?
Yeah, so we're not just a not-for-profit, we're a co-op, which means we're built by members. You can sign up to be a member. You can join for a member for either $25 a year or $60 lifetime. And a membership gets you voting rights at our annual general meetings, which is coming up on Monday, actually. So if you're interested in learning about us as an organization or interested in what we do, come out to that. We also have exclusive membership perks, like $2 off on our Tuesday and Thursday showings, and then $4 off regular showings, our regular theatrical showings. And yeah, it brings you into the community for $60 lifetime. You get access to the indie. You become a part of the indie.
Those are really cool. And do you get like a pin or something too? On this, I'm just saying this tongue in cheek.
We have little laminated cards.
There you go. You get a card. You're a card carrying member, and with the different perks. Because how many people don't love films? Like, give me a break. Like, you'd have to be living I don't know where to not at least have a favorite movie. Maybe you have limited love of movies, maybe only like certain genres or whatever, but movies in general, this is similar to books. I think a lot of people who read, it's not that hard of a thing to see the transition of also taking in movies as well. And it's a whole different art form altogether, reading, where your mind kind of takes you wherever the words kind of bring you. Your mind creates everything on the canvas, whereas in movies that's kind of done, it's done for you. And so there's this whole idea of people using visuals and sound and acting and all these things to affect your experience, right? So it's a whole other experience, but it's still storytelling. It's still you're involved in storytelling, similar to what you would be with a novel or reading.
Yeah. Movies are definitely the most popular medium of the day. It's kind of incredible that they're not even really 100 years old yet.
I know. I was just watching a film of, I guess one of my ancestors, Thomas Edison, who was involved with all kinds of inventions and including film as well, which I wasn't aware of. And he lived, did you know this little Sudbury fact? He lived in the Sudbury area for 3 years, Thomas Edison.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He lived in Falconbridge.
Okay.
And there, right to this day, there's the Edison building in Falconbridge, the town of Falconbridge. And I believe he even started the company Falconbridge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And his buddy, you might know him, J.P. Morgan, the Monopoly guy, or later became the inspiration as the Monopoly guy. He started Inco. So J.P. Morgan and Thomas Edison came to Sudbury knowing that there was a lot of fortune to be made under the ground, and they were into that. They were into everything, and basically started what we now have today is the mining industry in Sudbury. So it's kind of interesting. But that's, again, bringing us back to the age of inventions and whatever, and that was film, and it hasn't been around all that long. Like this, that's not, silent films came out, and then before you know it, talking films, and then television, and this is recent, very recent.
And I think that's a really incredible fact of SOAR and a lot of our film festivals, where these are films, it's become so accessible in the last 20, 25 years. These are journeys, adventures that have been happening, all across human history. We're natural travelers, just as we're natural storytellers. And with the proliferation of video camera technology, these people who are going on these epic journeys, as you said, are able to record them and play them later for us. And so you can see these journeys, now. And
more recently, to add to what you're just saying, is the cell phone, the cameras, the technology, the quality the sound, the images from a cell phone now are, even better than a lot of the cameras that were used 10, 20 years ago for making feature films. And so are you seeing a lot of these movies that are being made? Are they being shot just as on simple cameras these days? Are you privy to that information at all?
I think many of them are still shot on digital or like actual cameras. We do get the odd one every now and then. If you're interested, there are definitely a lot of festivals around the world, film festivals around the world, where it's like you have 48 hours, 24 hours to shoot, produce, and edit this thing straight from your phone. And those are very interesting film competitions. But yeah, certainly you've seen directors like Sean Baker pick up his iPhone and shoot award-winning masterpieces. So yeah, it's this really incredible thing. Like we have people who are, just way down, like aspiring filmmakers who are just picking up either their parents' camera or just something they got from a secondhand store and shooting these journeys that don't seem on the grandest scales, but are still able to capture such emotion and like pathos.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like we have this tool nowadays that we could become whatever. I watched just recently the Charlie Sheen documentary on his life or whatever, just because it's like eating candy or whatever. So it comes on. I'm like, oh, Charlie Sheen, I got to see this, So, but he started out, he's the son of, a famous actor and family of actors, and lived on the street with people who became famous actors along with him. And so him and what's his nose got together, Sean Penn, and they would just take their 8mm as kids and just make up these movies, and they're,
that's how the Coen brothers started as well.
Exactly. And so you think today everyone has this opportunity now. Back then it was expensive enough. It was a novelty enough to own a camera with film, and you'd have to then put it on the projector and see it after. Nowadays, you just film, you can see it in real time after. You can email it or send it, to someone right away in real time. And it's so cool. We have so much ability to take this to the next level for aspiring amateur would-be filmmakers. They have all the tools available to them, and something like indie cinema, that's a good way to kind of get in there and see what people are doing in the industry. And there's a lot of independent, right? That's a lot of what we're showing.
A lot of independent. The film industry is so much wider and diverse than what we're showing just through Hollywood. That's not just saying like the blockbuster system or whatever. There's millions of filmmakers around the world who are shooting the stories they want to tell every day. And that's where a place like Sudbury Indie Cinema and our film festivals comes in and gives them a platform for their filmmaking to, bring them up the ladder, or to showcase something that doesn't have the opportunity to be shown elsewhere.
Exactly. So this is an outdoor themed film festival. SOAR is its acronym. You are kicking things off tonight. So what time's it kicked off? Goes from the 13th to the 16th. How can people get tickets? Yada, yada website. Here's your chance to kind of sum everything up for our listeners.
6:30 tonight. Doors open at 6. We have that talk with Kylan Marone, followed by a feature at 7:30 called Girl Climber, which is about Emily Harrington, who is in the same climbing community as Alex Honnold, the guy from Free Solo. Then we also have programming on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Get tickets at sudburyindiecinema.com/SOAR, SOAR. Where you can find all our info about the festival, including exclusive perks for local businesses around town. Or if you're coming from out of town last minute, there's also deals we have with local hotels. You can find out and read about every single one of our films, as well as buy tickets and passes to individual shows.
Right on. Well, thank you very much, Simone. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I was just wondering if you got my email last night after we spoke.
I did. Yes, I was reading over that kind of briefly. That's very interesting.
It is, and I'm pretty sure that would be your family. So what happened was Simone and I were chatting last night, and I recognized his last name, and I do family history, and I recognized that his last name, Whittyfield, is in my family tree, and right from the same area where you are from. And so I went, wait a minute here, Whittyfield? Like, how many Whittyfields would there be that settled in that part of Ontario, in southern Ontario? And so last night after our conversation, I went on and I just quickly, and there's way more. If you're interested, I have way more than that. So I found a document showing the Whittyfield family coming from the United States and when they first settled in Upper Canada, which is now, just Stouffville, Whitchurch area kind of thing. So anyways, pretty interesting family history. So more than likely, we're like fifth cousins or something like that, which is pretty cool. You don't get that every day. So, cousin, thanks for that interview, and good luck with the SOAR Film Festival and Indie Cinema, and continue to reach out to us. And whenever you guys have the next thing going on, we'll be more than happy to have a chit chat about it and get the word out as much as possible.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, cousin.
All right, have a good one, Simone. So that was Simone Whittyfield of Sudbury Indie Cinema, and they're having their new film festival, SOAR. They put on quite a few film festivals, as we heard, and you can be involved with the Indie Cinema by being part of their co-op. So go to their website and check out, see all the different ways you can be involved there and be a card-carrying member. It starts 6:30 tonight. Go on their website, see all the details about that. And get out and just enjoy culture in Sudbury. And that's one good way to do it. We'll be back with some weather, news headlines, comments, and more right after this. And as usual, Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. I just have to get the screen up here for everyone. So here you go. Currently it is 0 degrees. It's cloudy. Today it'll remain cloudy with a 40% chance of flurries, and wind will be moderate. Wind chill -7 this morning. UV index 1 or low. I don't think we really need the UV index anymore throughout the winter, but it's here from Environment Canada. Clearing. Oh, we're going to get a 30% chance of flurries this evening. Clearing before morning. And wind chill tonight, -9 overnight. So it's going to be pretty cold. Then tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud, becoming sunny late in the afternoon. High +1, increasing cloudiness later with a low of -5, and then that's overnight. And then Saturday, you're looking at cloudy with a high of 4. Sunday, 30% chance of rain, showers, or flurries, and a high of 2. You got your Monday, mix of sun and cloud, high of 1, 0 on Tuesday with mix of sun and cloud, and then cloudy on Wednesday. That's a mixed bag of weather from Sudbury Weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines and more right after this. Well, I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Simone Whittyfield from Sudbury Indie Cinemas, doing all kinds of really great things down there. And again, their new film festival they got going on. Just check out their website, sudburyindiecinemas.com, I believe. Maybe there's not an S on there. I kind of missed that when we were chatting. But let's look at some Sudbury headlines here. We'll just what's going on in and around the city for some of the latest news here coming from our news aggregator, Sudbury.news. So structure fire closes portion of Howie Drive. There's a closure announced early today. That's Sudbury.com. So if you want to read about that, check it out on our Sudbury.news aggregator. Let's see here. Thrift stores in Northern Ontario say more people dropping off their trash at their doorsteps. So Please don't do that at your local thrift store. Just make sure you're dropping off things that can actually be used, donated. Trash isn't a place to drop off at a thrift store. It's just not the place. Thrift stores aren't a place to drop your trash off at. Can't believe people are doing that. That's from the CBC. Okay, so proposed Northern Ontario nickel mine set to be declared nation-building project. So we've heard a lot about nation-building projects from our Prime Minister Mark Carney. This is coming from CBC as well. Prime Minister Mark Carney is set to announce Thursday, that's today, a list of several nation-building projects that the federal government is fast-tracking, and one of them is a proposed mine in Northern Ontario. For more on that, read it from CBC. I myself am skeptical of these nation-building projects we've been hearing a lot about. Opposition has been on them already. It's been 8 months and nothing's really been announced. So here you go. Finally, we got some announcements. Let's see if there'll be new announcements other than things that are already kind of in process. That's what we've only seen thus far, things that are already in process. Some local news here. Elizabeth Fry Society calls for care, not crackdowns. And the Sudbury Star has a poll. Elizabeth Fry says, we can't arrest our way out of public health crises. That's from Amy Collins. Says, as police step up patrols in downtown Sudbury. So again, here's this combating views of how we deal with the crisis of addictions, mental health, homelessness. And do we just allow it to happen? Do we just continue to enforce the laws that already exist? Do we just let it happen? Elizabeth Fry is saying, hey, let's take it easy here. There needs to be new ways of handling things as police are starting to enforce laws as a measure to clean up our downtown, something that most Sudburyans are in favor of, but at the same time want it to be done in a way that can have human dignity involved with it, right? Not taking away people's human rights. But it's a huge problem. We had Tom Price and Bob Johnson on the show yesterday, and they've been on quite a few times, and this isn't going away anytime soon. It's going to bring us to one of our stories here that I have queued up. Let me see where it is. Here we go. So something I noticed in Sudbury Star's headline this morning, Greater Sudbury Committee agrees to... No, that's not what it was. I thought I opened the browser, but I guess I didn't. Here you go. So report says they should scrap the community action networks, right? The CANs, people are familiar with that. It's been around since 2002, a new initiative called the Community Registry Affiliate Program is being proposed to support nonprofit volunteer-based groups. I guess they got this consulting firm, Stuckless Consulting, to look at our Community Action Network program and see if that was effective or not. And they came through and said, you know what, it needs to be overhauled and it needs to be more grassroots, not-for-profits and volunteers running these programs. And so they want to scrap the CAN program and install this community registry and affiliate program. And then as reading this story, as they're scrapping the CAN, they also, so that's an acronym, right? Community Access Network, CAN. It's kind of cool, right? We can do it. In the community, we can have change, Community Access Network. It's a way for citizens to, I guess, interact with the city in different initiatives in our communities, in our different neighborhoods, Every neighborhood kind of area has their own. But the report also recommended redirecting existing funding to a new stream within the Healthy Community Initiatives, the HCI Fund, to support grassroots community-led initiatives. Mayor Lefebvre says this is about meeting our community where it is today and where it's going. We have heard from residents, volunteers, and grassroots groups about what is working and what needs to change. These recommendations reflect the feedback and aim to make it easier for more people to get involved, feel included, and access the support they need. That's right from Paul Lefebvre. That's what he said about it. He is a seasoned politician. He can say these things and say them very clearly on paper and make sure that people know that they're hearing our needs. They're hearing from community members of what they need, and they're acting upon it by getting the consulting group to do a report. And now they're listening to this report and wanting to make these changes. These changes should come into effect in and around 2027 as part of our new, action plan for the city. But you can see all these acronyms, right? CAN, Community Action Network, Healthy Community Initiatives, HCI. And I just thought to myself, I said, okay, well, what would be the acronym of this new initiative, right? Community Registry Affiliate Program. And I said, why aren't they giving an acronym for that? And just as soon as I said that in my mind, I saw it and I went, okay, not a good acronym. So the Community Registry Affiliate Program would be crap. So not the greatest acronym for the new initiative. Maybe we should call it something else if we're going to change it. Because you don't want to scrap CAN for crap, right? Just a suggestion from me. You can do whatever you want, but it looks like we're in the age of acronyms for everything. And if that kind of gets a hold to the people that don't go along with it and you're going to get opposition, it gives them easy, verbiage for opposition. This is a crappy program. This program is crap. Crap is crap. I'm just giving you just a little bit of my insight from my many, many years of schooling and my little bit of experience talking about the news for almost 4 years now. It'll be 4 years in March. So 3.5 years doing news. And before that, 3.5 years of Sudbury sports talk, where we started talking about the news a little bit. But anyways, we're looking at getting some of these programs changed from CAN to CRAP. And again, I'm just saying the acronym, Community Registry Affiliate Program. For more on that, visit Sudbury Star or visit sudburystar.com. And a little bit on, Mark Carney's announcement that he's going to be making today on these programs. Pierre Poilievre speaking to Mark Carney directly and saying we can have a lot more activity in Canada. We can have a lot more industry, a lot more investment if he would simply get out of the way. And that's exactly, when I was part of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, that's exactly what they were all about. Getting rid of red tape, getting rid of regulations, not regulations to the point where there's going to be danger to people, but getting rid of unnecessary regulations and policies and red tape that get in the way of business going forward. And Sudbury is synonymous for this. It was blocking business from coming to town. We were known as being the worst city, and we probably still are, for welcoming new business, new industry, because we have such a long-standing industry, the mining industry. And I guess, there's been some concern that if we, include other industries in town, there'll be competition for the workforce and things. And so the mining industry really didn't want that. And there's some certain players in certain positions that would prevent other industries from coming into Sudbury and making us more diverse in terms of our economy and giving more people opportunities, right? And so for years, we were known as the worst place to start new industry, new business. But this is Pierre Poilievre speaking of Mark Carney and telling him basically the same thing. Get out of the way and let industry, let business kind of take care of business.
Postmedia.
Hey, Rick. Do we still call you the Dinger?
Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me for dinner.
Okay.
We've been told in Alberta for weeks, if not months, that on Grey Cup week, that we would get a win in Alberta. And that win would be a pipeline to the West Coast. It would be significant commitment to action on the so-called 9 bad laws. And that would all happen Grey Cup week. That is to say, tomorrow. We are also told somehow there might be some sort of memorandum of understanding between the province of Alberta and Carney. That's just floating out there. I don't know if that's confirmed. What are your thoughts? Because for weeks, months, we've been promised that Grey Cup week, the stamps aren't in, neither is Edmonton, but that Alberta would get a win on both of those files.
Well, tomorrow. It reminds me when you go into the pub, the Liberals are like that pub that has that sign on the wall that says free beer tomorrow. And so you come back the next day and it still says free beer tomorrow. And you keep coming back day after day for the promise of free beer, and the price of beer continues to rise and rise and rise. So they keep telling us that something is going to happen tomorrow. Mark Carney's been Prime Minister for 8 months, promising to move at, quote, unimaginable speeds. And yet there's not a single project that he has launched that was not already in the making or approved before he took office. Mark Carney needs to do only one thing for us to get a pipeline from Alberta to the Pacific. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. There are trillions of dollars of international investment crying out for the chance to build that pipeline without any government support. All they need is the federal government to stop blocking it. Repeal the 9 bad, get out of the way and repeal the 9 bad laws that block energy projects. Get out of the way and remove the ban on shipping oil off the northwest coast of BC, a ban that only applies to Canadians because, of course, American tankers can travel between Alaska and California in those very same waters, so why not allow Canadians to do the same? Get out of the way and get rid of the Liberal industrial carbon tax so that we can actually produce enough oil to fill a future pipeline. Get out of the way, Mark Carney, and do it now. It has been 8 months. We don't need Mark Carney to put on a hard hat and hold another photo op. He's had countless photo ops in the last 8 months, while investment flees and our industrial sector leaves to the United States of America. He's not got shovels in the ground on anything. Now, I suspect there will be some sort of quote-unquote memorandum. You know something? Memorandums don't pay the bills. We need shovels in ground. So Mark Carney should get out of the way and tell us on what date will shovels be in the ground on a new 1 million barrel a day pipeline from Hardisty, Alberta to Prince Rupert or Kitimat, British Columbia. That's all he's got to do. Give us the date, show us where the shovel will hit the ground, and tell us on when it will happen. That is what we need to have. Get out of the way, Mark Carney.
Hi, Matthew Skase, Globe and Mail. You've yet to address last week's floor crossing and departure from caucus. Chris d'Entremont said your leadership is why he crossed the floor. How do you respond to comments that your caucus is not united right now?
Well, first of all, I just quote Mr. d'Entremont, who said, and I quote, "Since I first elected here in 2019, the cost of living has skyrocketed. Even then, families in Nova Scotia, as it is now, as it was called at the time back, but is now Acadie and Annapolis, were struggling. We warned that the Liberals out-of-control spending and massive deficits were irresponsible, but of course they did not listen. Now, after 6 months under the new Prime Minister Mark Carney, who promised fiscal discipline, Canadians are still waiting." He said, Mr. Carney said, I'm quoting Mr. d'Entremont here, Mr. Carney said he would be judged by the cost at the grocery store. Well, Canadians are judging him and they are not impressed. Since the Liberals came to power, food prices have risen 40%, said Mr. d'Entremont. We have heard it many times here today. It is deliberate and it is unacceptable. It is inhumane for a G7 country, said Mr. d'Entremont of Liberal policies. He said, "We are a rich country. We are a food basket of a country. We can produce all the food for many people in the world, and we can barely feed ourselves for some reason," end quote. That is how Mr. d'Entremont described the outrageous cost of living as the direct result of Mark Carney's Liberals. I'm very saddened for the Nova Scotia families on whom Mr. Carney and Mr. d'Entremont are raising the price of groceries and homes, but that will not change our resolve to continue to fight for an affordable Canada, affordable budgets, and an affordable future.
So goes on to say, Mark Carney, get out of the way. Let business take care of business in Canada. And it's true. A lot of government regulations prevent business from happening. People don't want to invest in something that the government can just turn around and change a law and then make your company bankrupt because they say, "Oh no, you can't do that anymore. That's against our policies, against our regulations." And so they're reluctant to invest in a country like that. And so you have to be aware, or are you doing this on purpose? I think is what a lot of people would say, that Mark Carney actually is doing these things on purpose, which people say, how could that be possible? How would Mark Carney do these things on purpose? He's the Prime Minister of Canada. Doesn't he want Canadians to succeed? Doesn't he want, all of these things to flourish and whatever? And so Wake Up Canada, a little bit of segment here I saw yesterday, just going to share that with people. Goes into explaining it a little bit more about why would you do this on purpose? So here you go. We'll be back right after this.
Brad Wilder. This next article was researched and written by one of our Wake Up Canada News contributing reporters. Mark Carney is not a prime minister. He's the instrument of a plan that Canadians can barely begin to see. From the moment he stepped into Ottawa, it was clear this was not governance, it was calculated dismantling. The liquidator. He was installed, carefully positioned by powers beyond our borders, and every decision he's made since has pushed Canada closer to vulnerability, dependency, and loss. The signs were there from the start. Carney travels incessantly, jetting from summit to summit, handshake to handshake, leaving promises in his wake that are never ever kept. Deals that could secure Canada's future quietly vanish. Meanwhile, the U.S., our historical partner and security anchor, watches with growing frustration as Canada drifts farther away, weakened and isolated. Trade corridors, internal infrastructure, nation-building projects all appear helpful on the surface, but beneath the polish, they centralize power, strip provincial autonomy, and prepare the ground for external acquisition. Housing, healthcare, education, everything Canadians hold dear is under siege. Funding is redirected, services are strained, and policies are designed with efficiency for investors, not citizens, in mind. Every failure, every empty promise, every delayed initiative is part of the same blueprint to create a Canada that is cheaper, weaker, and easier to dominate. And it's not just what he does, it's how he moves. Behind the public speeches and photo ops, secret alliances hum to life. Meetings in foreign capitals whisper networks among global financiers. Silent negotiations that determine the fate of Canadian industries all happen while Canadians are told that progress is being made. Meanwhile, foreign entities gain access, control, and influence over our land, our economy, and our future. Carney's calm demeanor masks the strategy. He does not panic because he's not here to serve Canada. He's here to liquidate it. Every budget, every policy, every initiative has been designed to make Canada dependent, pliable, and exploitable. Our industries are undervalued, our workforce destabilized, and our sovereignty quietly eroded. The country is slowly being rewired to benefit everyone but Canadians themselves. And still, the public, the media, the political establishment hesitate to confront the truth. They call it policy experimentation or global engagement, but anyone looking closely can see the pattern. This is the work of a destroyer, a man operating with a mandate that few Canadians understand, or fewer dare to challenge. Mark Carney is no ordinary leader. He's a liquidator. He's a shadow operative in the corridors of power, a figure whose calm precision belies a deep, deliberate ambition, the dismantling of Canada from within. And unless Canadians wake to the scale of this operation, our nation will not simply stumble. It will be reshaped, weakened, and parceled out to forces that see us not as sovereign people, but as a resource to be exploited. Canada is under siege, and Mark Carney is the destroyer at the heart of it. Thanks for watching Wake Up Canada News. Please like, share, and follow us on any of your favorite socials, including Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, and our website at wakeupcanadanews.com.
So thank you very much for that. Much appreciated for all of the independent news organizations that are working at least getting to the bottom of news stories that mainstream media will never touch for some reason. We're not 100% sure on the reasons for it. But I just wanted to, just make people aware that Mark Carney is, for other, organizations other than Canada, like he's basically, already involved in the UN, and he's had high positions in the UN. He is a global banking person who was instrumental in creating the new green economy and looking at changing our world. And just like Wake Up Canada said, his main job is dismantling Canada as a nation so it could be easier to have global interests take over. And here's someone just explaining what the UN as a global entity is. And Mark Carney was very much part of it, and I believe still is. And this is where his kind of thinking comes from, right? So this is what the UN is.
When people think of the UN, I don't think they should think of it as nations coming together. In its most simplistic form, it's governments coming together, not nations. And I think that is a really critical distinction to make. When we talk about the UN, we really need to recognize that there's the doublespeak, there's the propaganda, that it's just the nations of the world coming together to solve problems, and then there's the reality. It's a front group for a group of very dangerous, very totalitarian-minded and ambitious individuals who, if left to their own devices, would rule over humanity with an iron fist. You have some small subset of the population. Psychiatrists often refer to them as psychopaths or sociopaths. They have a variety of different labels that they use, but these are people who really don't have empathy. They really don't have a lot of the emotions that normal people have. They just have this passionate drive to control other people. Their primary goals are to supposedly make the world a better place. But again, totalitarians always tell you they're going to be helping you. They've got some wonderful plan, and if you just participate, life is going to be wonderful. You won't be hungry. You'll be equal, et cetera, et cetera. You don't really have to dig too deeply to see what the real agenda is. If you look at the characters who are involved in this, if you look at the track record of the United Nations over the last 75 or so years, it's very, very obvious that their ultimate objective is a single world government. And that's what they are building right now. And they know that they can't just leap right into a world government. So they have been progressively strengthening the United Nations and its affiliates, the agencies. And when you take this whole architecture of global governance that they're building, they want to govern every area of life. And you can see that very clearly. If you think of the attributes of a state, you have, for example, law enforcement, you have military, you also have environment, you have healthcare, you have education, you have all these different areas where governments have taken authority. And what you see is the United Nations is now making a grab for that authority, but at the international level. I personally don't think it's a wise idea for the government to be handling these things even at the local, state, or national level, certainly not at the international level. And when you look at the composition of the UN, the decision makers of the UN, what you find is really nasty individuals. I mean, kleptocrats, mass murderers, gangsters, thieves, criminals. To give them more power just seems absolutely ridiculous to me. But I do believe that is the goal, a one world economic system, political system, even religious system, but ultimately all working toward this supposed global utopia. They want us to think it'll be a global utopia. I tend to think it'll be more in line with the kind of the dystopian fiction novels that we've seen over the last few generations.
Yeah, and me too. So there you go. That's a little bit about the UN, maybe some of their goals behind the scenes, and even this nation building announcement that's going to be made today. It's communist speak. Nation building, it's socialism, it's communism. The government's going to come and nation build when it's the people. It's people like you and I. Let's say you and I want a nation build. We want to build a company that's going to employ thousands of people or whatever. The government should be like, okay, yes, here, we're going to help you do whatever you can to help you do the work. But no, they over time take the reins, and they're the ones in control. They're the ones who are going to nation build. They're the ones who are going to invest your money in everything and control everything. And when that starts happening, that's when things start falling. When people lose ownership of themselves and it's individuals doing things, and now it's the government doing everything for you. This nation building, they're going to come in, they're going to use all your money and invest to make the nation better and whatever. Just get out of the way. Let people do it. Government historically have not been effective at running anything. So less government, more people, give them the power. The power should be in the people to be able to let them do their thing and get out of the way. Support them, don't control them. That's all the time we got for the show today. Really appreciate you being on. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll be back same time, same place, on the same platforms, God willing. So remember to have a wonderful, safe, and enjoyable Thursday, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.